Beautiful peeps, daily vlogs to Mainstage EDC episode 31 or 32, cranking along. Guys, what I've been thinking about, or actually just heard a great pod on, but I've been hearing more about, not necessarily thinking about or studying, but when I listen to pods on certain topics, it gets the juices flowing out related to my life. And for me with investing, and this is not financial advice, and I am not a financial guru of any kind, so don't take any of this for your situation. This is my situation. A little bit about my situation. I was big in Bitcoin, and for me, big is like 5 to 10% of my entire portfolio of cash and investments. Now, that's not that big, but relative to most people, that's pretty big. And I just heard a pod that this Peter Schifter, I think, or Peter Schiffer, something like that, that really went at Bitcoin. And I've listened to the Michael Saylors of the world. I've listened to other people that have believed in the technology and blockchain and Gary Vee, and I've been in on it since it was like 1700. Now I've sold since then, which I shouldn't have, but I've gotten back in and I've stayed in. My average cost is around, I think, 95,000 per Bitcoin. I do not have $95,000 in Bitcoin. Average cost meaning of all the Bitcoin I've bought of all different prices, up and down, and back then and yesterday, or a couple months ago, last time I bought some, it all averages out to about 95,000. So I'm down like many people right now because it's like 66,000. So that's about 30% drop on my total return. Total return on Bitcoin is about 30% less. But I'm not selling. You only lose when you sell. And so I'm certainly not out on Bitcoin. And even after this pod that I heard, I'm still not out on Bitcoin. But ultimately, it did get me thinking about some other assets, because, and hopefully this is helpful or interesting to any of you that invest or thinking about investing or are curious or hear about Bitcoin, because he really chunked it down to Bitcoin not having a use, right? In other words, it's pure speculation. And I'm not an expert. These things that I regurgitate right now may be totally off. I'm learning every day. But essentially, compared to gold, it's like digital gold. It's the main comparison against gold, right? But with gold, it's used for technology, it's used for jewelry, it's used for, there's a couple different use cases. Bitcoin, to my understanding, as he said it, does not have any use cases. Now, again, I've heard other people say things about the blockchain. I'm not too aware on it to say definitively if it does or doesn't, because I'm not that aware of the blockchain and how all that works. Perhaps it does have some uses other than a store of value. But he said essentially it's just a store of value. It's purely speculation. It's like Pokemon cards, right? Pokemon cards have no use case. People invest in them and made a ton of money right now because it's speculation. There's a lot of hype around them, so the value goes up. Same thing as Bitcoin, not the same thing as gold, not the same thing as real estate, not the same thing as stocks that have a use case, right? You invest in a stock, it's a company that's contributing value to the world. You invest in real estate, you collect rent because you're contributing value to the world. You're giving housing to somebody. I never thought about Bitcoin that way. I was so gun-ho, again, still safely, 5 to 10% is not that crazy, and I'm young, so it can take on a little bit more risk, but I was not thinking about it kind of from like a bare bones economics 101 perspective. If it is true that it does not have a use case and is purely speculative, the use case could be, some would argue, which he acknowledged and which I thought of, which is you can trade across borders, right? There's no regulation, there's no inflation, the government can't print more of it. That is a use case. Not sort of directly applicable, like giving somebody housing, but it is a unique value, unique characteristic. But then he said, gold is being tokenized. So which can also trade across borders, can trade around the world, can trade 24/7, another use case, right? And I'm like, man, so what's the argument to not start breaking off Bitcoin when it's positive, hopefully again, and break off some of that into tokenized gold? Because I have gold in ETFs, but what about tokenized gold, right? That sounds like that's the better argument. And he actually put up a side by side, all the things that people like for Bitcoin, tokenized gold can do, and all the things that gold can do that Bitcoin can't, tokenized gold can do. So it's kind of a better Bitcoin. And yeah, guys, that's what I just heard this pause 2 hours at the gym, and I was like, whoa, it shook my foundation on Bitcoin a little bit. I'm still not going to sell. I'm certainly not out. From everything I've heard, I still do believe it'll beat its high of 126, and Then I'll probably break off some and get a little bit more scarce with it. But yeah, hopefully that's helpful or interesting to you if you're investing or thinking about investing. I'm learning every day, and like everybody, I want to build wealth and freedom for my family, and investing is a big piece of that, right? And that's I'm catching up on all the financial literacy that they don't give us in school, which is the reason most people aren't in the market. Most people aren't invested at all. Most people just have cash. Maybe a lot of you watching just have cash that is losing its power every single year and getting devalued by inflation. So do not sit on 100% cash. Even just the S&P is better than that. But again, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, not a guru, not certified, not giving financial advice. Do not take that advice. Even though I said don't sit on cash. I'm not talking to you. Don't listen to me. Okay. I'm just sharing my thoughts. And I'm certainly not going to not going to sit on cash because it gets devalued every single year. So yeah, but other than that, guys, cranking out music. Thank you for all the love on socials. I'm trying to have more fun with content and just do different things, like more fun content where I can put my song to it, but it's more kind of a unique idea about the song instead of me reacting to the song. So I love doing comment of the days and highlighting you on the post, but I also like doing other types of content that I see when I'm scrolling for ideas. I'm like, oh, that's sick. This gave me something. It's added, it's valuable to me, right? It got me thinking, it got me feeling, whatever it was. So for example, Bottle Always Dry, which is a song I wrote about me and my mom and drinking. Thank you everybody that's listened to it. It's a special one. It's the most meaningful song I've put out to this point in 103 songs. So thank you for that. But since it's about me and my mom and drinking, parenting, right? And I saw something like, I've heard all different versions of this for years now, right? You guys have probably heard, you don't have 10 years with your mom left. You have 10 Christmases and maybe 5 summers. If you live far away, right? Maybe 10 summers if you see them once a year, maybe 20 summers, or 20. If you live away from your parents and you see them a couple times a year, you don't have 20 years left with them. You have 70 visits, right? And it starts to get crazy. It's a great way to tap into presence and gratitude. And so I wrote out this whole block of text that was my thoughts on that, my perspective. You don't have 20, and I tried to make it poetic and emotional and visual and just great writing, and I had fun writing it. I put it on a post of me walking, talking to my mom and her out on the speaker, and I put Bottles Always Dry on the audio, and I think it's doing pretty good on the Purple app. Black app, everything does the same, but I think it got to meaningful comments, so that's how I gauge that app, since the views are always about the same. And yeah, I'm trying to do more stuff like that. Like, here's a song, what's a unique content idea I can put to the song? And I think that I'm already having more fun doing it, and I think it's going to be a lot better for us growing because it's more valuable. I'm giving value. Like, me reacting to a song is not valuable. Like, nobody wants to see it. It's not adding anything to anybody. I don't like necessarily, I mean, I kind of do because I'm always looking for new artists and new inspo and new ideas, but it's not my favorite content when I see a DJ in the car reacting to his song. So I appreciate the grind, and I've heard these ideas, I never executed it this much to where I pretty much don't post any of that content. It's really only comment of the day winner. When I post whoever won comment of the day, it's usually me reacting with the post right there. But other than that, you guys probably aren't going to see me reacting to a drop in a while, maybe ever, because this other content is so fun, and it's got to be more valuable because we got to get better, guys. I got to get better. I got to get better at content, got to get better at music. I got to keep building our fam because I got to get profitable on music so that way I can do more, give more, be more, and just share more with you guys. And so that's it, guys. Talking fast because I got to fly. I'm going to go walk around. It's beautiful weather. I love when that daylight savings comes and we get more sunlight. What's your favorite time? Shorter sunlight or more sunlight? I love more sunlight because I get to go walk, I get to hoop. I actually don't have my basketball. Damn, I thought I had my basketball in the car. I don't, but that's what I'm gonna go do, guys. Hopefully this was helpful or interesting. We're gonna keep cranking out the vlog. So grateful for you. Love you guys. Catch you in the next one. Let's go.